Welcome to the Feeling Good podcast, where you can learn powerful techniques to change the way you feel. I am your host, Rhonda Borowski, and joining me here in the Murrieta studio is Dr. David Burns. Dr. David Burns is a pioneer in the development of cognitive behavioral therapy and the creator of the new team therapy. He is the author of Feeling Good, which has sold over 5 million copies in the United States and has been translated into over 30 languages. David is currently an emeritus adjunct professor of clinical psychiatry at Stanford University School of Medicine.
Rhonda?
Gosh. Kind of sounds like you're gurgling.
Yeah, that one was bizarre.
Yeah. Well, hi, David, and welcome, everyone. This is episode 214. And this is another episode where you did personal work with somebody from the Tuesday group who was kind enough to allow us to post it and publish it on your on the podcast. And we're going to be talking about, he talked about the approval addiction, right? Which is a self-defeating belief.
Yeah, I think people are going to love this for at least two reasons. First, we have to thank Sonny for allowing us to post his intensely personal experiences growing up in Hong Kong and more recently, having an attack of pretty intense anxiety. And I think that will be inspiring for people, and you'll learn a whole lot just to see exactly how a team therapy session unfolds. And I was going to point out these two really important things about it. I can't remember what the other one was.
Well, just logistically.
I remember. Yeah, and the other one is because this is one of our podcasts in the series on self-defeating beliefs.
Right.
And the approval addiction is very common, and Sonny is seeking help because he's had this approval addiction ever since he was a little boy. And in addition, once we tell you what's going to happen here in this first part of his treatment on today's podcast, I also kind of call it Siliconitis, because here in Silicon Valley, there's a lot of people trying to be successful and comparing themselves to others who are like mega brilliant and mega successful and feeling like I'm not good enough. And so I have no doubt that many of our listeners, if not most, have struggled with this, needing approval and needing to be more successful in order to be worthwhile. And today we're really going to show how to crush that system of thinking and liberate yourself to be free to be the person you are and to enjoy your life. And you can talk about it abstractly or write about it theoretically, but when you see someone going through it with the tears, with the memories, with the powerful feelings, it puts it into a whole other territory.
Right, it really does.
So,
when you see that it's a real human being, it's not just something abstract.
Yeah.
It has so much more meaning.
Yep.
And one of the things that maybe would be interesting to clarify, because when we did this on Tuesdays, on the Tuesday that we made this recording and we dropped into the small groups, the clinicians in the small groups had a difficult time with the difference between a self-defeating belief and, well, what's the matter with asking for approval? Doesn't it feel good to get approval, and don't you want approval? And so, let's clarify the difference.
That wasn't in this session, but in another session, and that's such a great point that you made, is that when we're looking at something self-defeating belief like the approval addiction, that would be worded as something like I need everyone's approval to feel happy and worthwhile, and it's not when. Actually, I'm not even sure we're going to do a cost-benefit analysis in this podcast, but if we were to do a cost-benefit analysis of that, it would be, what are the advantages and disadvantages of basing your self-esteem on getting approval, or basing your self-esteem on being a high achiever? How will this help you? How will this hurt you? And it's not looking at the advantages and disadvantages of approval. There are no disadvantages of approval. There are no disadvantages of achievement. But there can be some, as you'll about to hear in the broadcast, some tremendous painful sides of basing your self-esteem on approval and always having to please other people rather than being your own person. So before we dive into that, I think you've got a couple of nice, beautiful comments there to read. We get flooded every day by beautiful comments from you folks.
I know. So just by the time this podcast is published, it'll be November 2nd. And just to remind people, on September 15th, your new book, Feeling Great, was launched. And that's really exciting. And we had a book launching party. And we had about 800 people at our book launching party. It was all on Zoom. And you got a really great number of, emails about it. And we got one from Natasha, and she's, in all caps, she wrote you, "Yahoo! I just got my hard copy today." And
XOXO, right?
Love and kisses, right? And then Kurt wrote you and said, "I don't remember the last time I felt this excited," which is really fun.
Yeah, and the excitement has been just tremendous. The response has been tremendous. I remember when my book Feeling Good came out, there was pretty much Zippo.
Yeah.
It took years before people started noticing it or caring about it, and now it's just like shot out of the gate, like a cannon type of thing. And so I really feel blessed and appreciate so much support and so much excitement from so many people.
Well, the book, you deserve it, and so does this book.
Now, in the today's podcast, we'll kind of go through the T equals testing and E equals empathy with Sonny as he tells his story. Then in part two, and next week, we'll be talking about the exciting last half of his session, where all the profound changes happened, including one aha moment that he had that was a huge surprise, that was the whole key to his sudden recovery. But at any rate, I also want to thank Jill Levitt, Dr. Jill Levitt, who's the Director of Clinical Training at the Feeling Good Institute. And as you know, Rhonda, she teaches with us in the Tuesday group, and she's my co-therapist in tonight's session.
And she's absolutely a brilliant therapist and teacher.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Yeah, it's just incredible that we get to know her and work with her.
It is. It's incredible.
Someone like her. At the beginning of the session, Sonny took the brief mood survey, and the two ratings that were the most remarkable was his happiness, and that scale goes from 0 to 40. And his score of 22, he wasn't severely depressed or, angry or anything like that, but he was a little anxious for sure, and but his happiness was very, very low. We'd like that to be up like 38 out of 40 or 40 out of 40. That's when you're really, really joyous. In addition, his relationship satisfaction with his mother was 16 out of 20, 20 being the highest, or 16 out of 30, I should say. And so 30 is a really great relationship satisfaction, and the 16 indicates much unhappiness with his relationship with his mother, although he said this 16 is even higher than it's typically been. But Sonny's story was that he grew up in Hong Kong, and he's been a very beloved member of our Tuesday group. And when he was growing up, like in some cultures, boys are favored over girls. And, to me, that's kind of horrible, but that type of bias seems to exist all over the world. I guess that's why people are so much celebrating the life of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was a tremendous advocate for women's rights. But at any rate, he at dinner, they would always let him take his choice of the food first, the best piece of meat or whatever, and then his sister would get the part that was left over. And he was very intent on getting his mother's approval, which he got really good at doing that. But his sister was a rebel, and she was often beaten, and then he was always being praised, and he's always felt, kind of ashamed and guilty about that. And then
I mean, that
talks
showed a
about,
really beautiful part of him, because instead of feeling entitled, like I deserve this, he felt badly for his sister.
Yeah. Yes, and he is a profoundly compassionate and sensitive guy for sure. And then his first step into independence was when he was in his 20s. He courageously announced that he was gay, and had tremendous anxiety at that time. That was his first step into here's who I am, and I'm not going to just be seeking approval all the time. The second time it happened was that, you see, his mother wanted him to do something prestigious, like electrical engineering, and so he did that, and then had a tremendous career in Silicon Valley, making a lot of money and doing a high-tech thing. But he never wanted to do that. It was never his goal. He always wanted to help people. And so his second big episode of coming out was he gave up his lucrative career and decided to get a kind of humble degree, a master's in clinical social work at a pretty humble university, so he could become licensed and do therapy. And he that's when he joined our Tuesday group and blossomed into a tremendous therapist, actually. And then his recent coming out was he decided to give up having a full-time job and work half-time and spend half of each day doing what he wanted to do. And he says he's been enjoying that. It's been going great, but he keeps getting hit by episodes of strong panic and anxiety. And on his daily mood log, and then we'll dive right into the session, he was feeling like 50% anxious and inadequate and lonely and embarrassed and lost and some other unhappy and other feelings as well. And then he had negative thoughts like, I shouldn't have to deal with this anxiety again. In other words, I should be over this by now. There's something wrong with me. And that's so typical of how people think when we're depressed and anxious, beating up on ourselves. And then he had the thought, other people will think I'm a loser. And then I will not succeed. And then I'm weak. I should be more like my sister and just go for it, and I'll be alone. And he believes most of these negative thoughts pretty strongly. The lowest would be 50%, but most of them he's believing 70, 80, or 90%. And so let's go into the session now, and you can hear as Sonny tells his powerful story of anxiety and spending a life always searching for approval and trying to find the courage to become his own person.
Great.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to the Tuesday group. And tonight we're going to feature the approval addiction as on our series on how to deal with self-defeating beliefs. And I'm really pleased to be joined by Dr. Jill Levitt, my co-therapist, and we're going to be working with Sonny live because you emailed me just before the group started saying that you'd volunteer to be the patient tonight. And our best teaching is pretty much always when we're doing live work. And so I think this will be a tremendous experience. We may have to go a little beyond 7. If some of you have to leave, that's fine. When I'm doing live work, we like to bring it to a sense of closure. And Jill and I will move as rapidly as we can, and perhaps we can get the entire session completed by 7. And let me start out by thanking you, Sonny, for this gift. It's great to have you back in the Tuesday group again. And it's just going to be very, very special for everyone to get a chance to work with you. Can we take a look at your brief mood survey, or perhaps you can just read the numbers to us for the depression and the other emotions, and I can jot them down here.
Yeah, unless you want me to share it.
Yeah, share. Yeah, do it on the screen sharing. That's a great idea.
I am not allowed to share.
Okay, let me do security. And let's see, allow participants to share screen. Okay, you should be able to share it now.
Okay, so Telemula. Okay.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. So I can see here that your depression score is just 3 out of 20. And that tells us that just a kind of a minimal mood disturbance, at least right now. There's no suicidal urges. The anxiety is a bit elevated, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's a mild anxiety. The anger, interestingly, is 1 out of 20. So all these scores so far are out of 20. So a depression of 3, anxiety 7, and anger 1. The positive emotions is a little bit of a different story. This version of the happiness test goes from 0 to 40, and your score there is 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 out of 40. And so that's not nearly, where you'd like it to be. We'd love to see that above 30 and above 35 and as close to 40 as possible. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. And then the relationship satisfaction with your mom actually is 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And that's pretty low. That goes from 0 to 30, so with 16, you have all somewhat a neutral in terms of your satisfaction with communication and openness and resolving conflicts and degree of affection and caring and intimacy and closeness and overall satisfaction. And so tell us, Sunny, a little bit about this approval addiction. We can probably, you can maybe stop the screen sharing now so we can see you. And
oh, you don't see me? Okay, hold on. How do I? Okay, let me stop sharing. Oh, I have too many screens down.
I know for me, it's down at the bottom of my screen, not up at the top where you're looking. It's down at, the
stop share. Okay, I can see it.
Yeah,
okay.
There you go. Great. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what's been bothering you, and we've done a little T equals testing. We'll see if we can do a little E equals empathy.
Well, this is not a new thing I had. I mean, I've been seeking approval from people, especially from what I call authority, since I was young. I think I was conditioned to be the good golden boy who needs to do what other, like my parents, my mom especially, approve in order to be award, which I've been kind of reward in many different ways growing up by being treated better by my mom and my relatives, and I've been and also seeing my sister and who is more rebellious getting punished by my family if I don't listen to, she doesn't. So it's kind of like a very clear message growing up, and I've been working on that because. So growing up, I've always been wanting approval from people, and for the most part, actually works pretty well. Because I get along with people really well, and I somehow, people like me, but I think I have to start working on it when I have to come out as a gay man when I was in my, pretty late 20-something. I think I also talked about to you, David, about I was in tech and I was pretty successful in that area. Went to pretty good school, but I decided that's not what I want to do, and I had to went over the hump on not needing approval from my mom or other people who thinks that what I did is the right thing, but I want to do what I want. So I've been in a situation where my seeking approval belief has been relatively good compared to before. Like I would say, I still, and that's why my beef mood score is not bad. But lately, I decided to not work on a full-time job at a place where it treats me very well and in general and pay pretty well, and partly work for somewhere part-time, but the other part is trying to explore what I want to do. And so lately I've been feeling a little uncomfortable about myself because I almost feel like I need a next level of not needing approval from other people, because I feel kind of uncertain and kind of doubting myself. And at times when I'm not doing a lot of things, I feel a little useless. And my score with my mom is actually relatively high, because at one point when I was applying for a couple jobs, one of them, some of them are pretty prestigious, I decided that I don't want to pursue them anymore. And I felt like part of me was yelling at myself for losing those opportunities, that I'm being stupid. And so I was so troubled at that time that I end up doing different types of team stuff to make myself feel better. Finally, one of them works, is when I actually call my mom and told her that I feel like I'm useless if I don't keep working full time and be productive and contribute to the world. And then I start crying. I start in front of her, and she's like an 80-year-old woman, and I was like, old adult. So that was pretty emotional. I actually feel a lot better after that. So my score is actually relatively high because of that. But lately, again, because I have to work on my trying to figure out what I want to do with the other half of my time, because I decided not to do any find any part-time job anymore to fill out my other time, and I want to go on my own and see what it's like. I just feel kind of uneasy about myself, my decision, because I felt like, unlike before, where I can see a lot of people approving me, supporting me, doing what I do, and I feel kind of comfortable now. I'm kind of felt like a little lonely on my own type of thing, and it just struck me maybe I'll talk to David about it, and that's why I emailed him right before the class. Although Yeah, not knowing that I'll be recorded. Yeah, so that's not. But then I was gonna change my mind. I said, oh well, maybe this is part of it. If I'm recorded and be public, man, then maybe that's part of the practice too. So yeah.
Well, I think it will be better being recorded, but you can always change your mind later. So just relax and do your thing, and then you can decide later on what you think about what you did. But let me summarize a little what you've said so far, and then we can have maybe Jill jump in too. But you had kind of minimal mood elevation at the beginning of the group, anxiety score of 7, and then your relationship satisfaction with your mom was not very high, only 16 out of 30, but you said that's kind of better than maybe it's been in the past.
A lot better. Yeah.
And your happiness is just at 22 out of 40. So, you're not feeling really joyous or fulfilled, and so consistent with what you said. And you said that you've been seeking approval ever since you've been young, that this is not a new issue for you, and that when you were little, you were the good golden boy, and that you did what your mom wanted, and then you got rewarded, and by relatives as well, and you were the one who was treated very well. But your sister, in contrast, was punished, and although you didn't go into that too much, I know that you've perhaps always felt kind of sad and guilty too.
Yes.
And maybe some of that, from memory of your talking about it once before, was because you're the male child, she's the female child, and some of it, the differentiation was on long gender lines.
Yeah. The females were not seen as high valuable in my particular Chinese culture. I think Chinese have a lot of different subculture, and when even growing up, I always get the best thing. Even the food, they would ask me to pick what I like first, and then the rest will go to her. And she's only 1 year younger than me. Even though a lot of times they would give me something that is supposed to be good, like abalone or something like that, like in Chinese. But I don't even like it. But then I was supposed to like it because that's what everyone thinks is more expensive. It's more expensive. So and I always feel guilty when my sister sit next to me, not getting as much as I have, and I didn't do anything about it. And especially when she got beat up, I just sit there, and because she's someone that I really admire, like who do what she wants to do, and even when she was really young, and I'm the opposite, so I always feel guilty that I didn't help her when she got beat up for being defiant. I guess to them is defiant, but in Chinese, especially if you're young, you're supposed to be obedient and listen to your parents and study well, go to the best school you can do, and so that you can make money and all that stuff. And I hold those values since I was a kid. So it may not even be my mom, but maybe that culture too. Yeah.
So that was hard for you, and it's hard for you even now, seeing her getting beat up by your mother because she was defiant, and in Chinese culture, your obedience to parents is incredibly important, and you were kind of the obedient one, and that this tendency to seek approval has worked really well for you. And you went into tech because that's what your mom wanted, and you became successful, but it was hard for you to decide to do what you wanted, and it was hard for you to come out when you were in your 20s as a gay man as well. And you've been making progress on this approval addiction, and your mood is pretty good. But now you're again, just as leaving your high tech career to get a license in clinical social work was going against the grain, doing something that you wanted to do rather than what everyone else wanted you to do. That was a huge step. But then it was okay for you for a few years because you came to the group, you developed fantastic therapy skills, become one of the top team therapists in existence, and you found a great job and people approved of you. But now you're wanting to, again, do the thing that you want to do, find something that's going to be fulfilling to yourself. And you've got a half-time position with a tech startup that involves doing therapy, and you've got half of your time, and you're feeling uneasy because you don't feel like you're necessarily doing some prestigious thing, or maybe not getting as much approval and support as you'd like, and and that you're doubting yourself, and sometimes you feel useless when you're not doing anything. And you even called your mom lately and cried, which was huge, and then felt better after that. But I know too you were debating about taking a job at a prestigious university, and it would have involved giving up kind of what you believe in team, because the position was people were kind of anti-team and not wanting patients to have to be made accountable, and saying we have to meet patients where they are. And I know that was kind of a painful experience for you. It was painful for me too, to be honest with you. I got so angry with the person who was interviewing you, and but in general, you're trying to figure out what you want to do with half of your time, but feeling a little lonely, sad, and lost. And I feel sad now too to see that you're struggling. But at the same time, I'm so grateful to have this chance to work with you and see if we can what we can do about this kind of angst that you're struggling with now, and maybe have you find your wings and fly, and take another step in your evolution. I'm wondering how accurate that seems.
No, it's very accurate. It's been a long way. I think that's one of the frustration is like, oh my God, I'm dealing with this again. I mean, how many times do I need to talk to David or Jill or other people?
Could you write that down as a negative thought?
Mm-hmm, okay.
I'm dealing with this again, which I guess is a way of saying I shouldn't have to deal with this again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah.
And I kind of interrupted you, but that was important. What you just said.
And then I have a good talk with my mom, but even that I was frustrated because, well, then she end up. It was very good talk, very vulnerable. That's why, and she told me she's not like what she was before, because I'm older and things are. We're immigrant too. Like we grew up immigrant and in a poor family, so she wants things to do as good as for us as possible. So that's one of her goals, is to make sure that we are productive and do very well. But anyway, at the end of the day, I'm still sought approval from her, and then I got better because she approved of it. So, So that's frustrating that too, because self-disclosure is good, but then I got a lot of approval. Like I want to be able to feel like that myself. I don't want to have to call my mom. Yeah. Although I'm glad I did in some way, but I'm frustrated too. Yeah.
How are you feeling at this moment?
Well, I felt kind of sad about that I will never get better, and I want to get that because I know that I have the capability to do well partly like on my own, but then I feel sad that I'm stopping myself and from running and keep using that approval as my like a pillow, or not pillow, the floating device, but you can only swim so fast with that floating device. And I don't think I need it, but then I feel like I'm swimming in the ocean now without the device, and I'm scared and feeling lonely at times, and I'm used to someone on my back saying, "Sonny, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing." So I don't even know if I'm doing this because I want approval from you guys. So I'm kind of doubting about myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask Jill to jump in here and see if we can take a look at your daily mood log too. But let me just ask you once again, how do you feel in terms of being vulnerable and opening up here right now with David and Jill and all the members of the Tuesday group?
I'm okay. I trust all of you, and I also know that every time I have to do something big, like even coming out as a gay man, I'm coming out again. Yeah. So I'm telling you that I'm not good enough, telling you that I need your approval. But I'm hoping this time I actually am not doing it because I'm seeking your approval. I'm just doing it because I am making an announcement to all of you that. So yeah, a little scared now, actually. More anxious than when I first filmed my Day with Love because it's like I don't feel like I want to break out, but then too scared to kind of something to stopping me, kind of frustrated and anxious at the same time. Yeah.
I'm going to ask Jill to jump in here. There's so many directions we can go in, but I'm a little scared not to be working with you, Jill, and because you're gonna you had so much.
I'm happy to just jump in with a little bit more empathy, and then we can see where that goes, Sonny. Yeah, I'm feeling so glad that you're sharing yourself with us, and I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you or connect with you in a long time. I know you used to be a member of the group, so it feels really good to see you and to hear from you and to have you be so open and vulnerable with us. Yeah, and I also, as David said, I feel sad hearing that this is what you're going through, but I also feel kind of, like proud of you, if that's the right word, that you're sharing it with us, that you're sort of coming out, as you said, again, and just like announcing that this is something that's really hard for you. I also noticed, like, I don't know if this makes sense, but, when you share your insecurity with your mom, you're saying, I almost feel like I cheated, like I went to get approval. But I do sort of wonder whether there's a fine line between kind of like connection and approval. And I wonder whether you were sharing with her, you know, like self-disclosure, like sharing your feelings with her just to be open and vulnerable, which I really admire and I think is wonderful. And you could probably get a lot of positive feelings out of that, even if she didn't approve. But I can see you saying that almost unfortunately, she gave you her approval. So your self-disclosure sort of backfired because you felt really good, but you felt good. You're wondering if you felt good in some ways because she gave you her blessing to not be perfect. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. And I'm afraid that I'll do the same thing here. I think that's one of my point. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Like I said, I can imagine you could feel better from sharing your vulnerabilities with us, you know, and from kind of showing us that you're kind of defective, just like the rest of us, you know, and have this approval addiction. But I'm pretty sure we promise that we won't tell you whether we approve of you or not. That's certainly not our goal. So you might feel better for other reasons, right? You might actually get over your approval addiction, or you might decide to carry on with your approval addiction. But yeah, I don't think what you'll get out of tonight is us telling you, you know, that we think you made the right decision or the wrong decision, because we'll be careful not to do that.
Okay.
Right, David?
Absolutely. Do you, I always think it's good to zero in on a specific moment on the daily mood log.
Yeah.
And what did you put for the upsetting event, Sonny? The moment.
I was just this morning, I think that's why I emailed you, is I was just thinking about my career future, which is very different than my normal one. Just work for someone and they give me the expectation and I fulfill it, and I usually do very well in all of it. But now I'm like, oh, I actually can take a break if I want to, and so I felt a little like lost.
Right.
Yeah.
And then on the emotions there this morning, the first category, sad, down, depressed, unhappy, how strong, what words did you circle there? What words apply, and how strong were those feelings?
So I circle unhappy. I put like 30.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a mixed feelings. That's why it's hard to figure out.
Sure.
Yeah.
And anxious?
Anxious, I put 50.
Mm-hmm. And guilty or ashamed?
40, yeah.
Inadequate, inferior?
50.
Lonely?
50.
Embarrassed, self-conscious?
50.
Hopeless, discouraged, defeated?
30.
Frustrated?
40, yeah.
Angry?
Like 20, yeah.
20. Any other emotions? Lost?
Yeah, lost is one, yeah. Lost.
And how strong would the lost be?
Like 50, yeah.
50, okay. And then what were you telling yourself? What are your negative thoughts? We got a couple of them already, but...
one of them is I shouldn't have to deal with this again.
Great.
I shouldn't have to self-disclose and seek approval from others to feel better. And then guilty. I feel like other people will think I'm a loser. I am wasting my time. I don't have other people to support me.
maybe I need other people to support me?
Yeah, I need other. Okay, yeah. I need other people to support me. I will not succeed. Yeah. How do I say it? Other people would be happy to be in my position, but I should be more satisfied. Yeah.
That's a good one. Let me just ask you for a moment how strongly you believe each of these thoughts when it goes through your mind. I shouldn't have to deal with this again. How believable is that one?
Like,
how much?
70.
70, great. And I shouldn't have to use self-disclosure to feel better and get approval from people.
70. Yeah.
70. Other people will think I'm a loser.
Maybe 50. Yeah.
50. I'm wasting my time.
50. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't have. I don't have other people to support me, and I shouldn't need other people to support me. I think it was kind of the same thought.
Mm-hmm. Like 90.
90, and then I will not succeed.
50.
50, and then others would be happy to be in my position, so I should be more satisfied.
Like 80.
80. And any other thoughts?
I'm doing this again. I'm weak. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. And how believable is that? I'm weak.
80%. Yeah.
Right, 80. And then any others? This is an excellent list.
Any other ones? Let me see.
It was David. It was also I'm doing this again, which is one of Sunny's fears, that he keeps doing this.
Yeah, I think that was his first negative thought, right? I shouldn't have to be dealing with this again.
Yeah. Another one is I should just jump in and not worry about all these things.
Oh, yeah. There's a good one.
Yeah.
Just jump in and not worry about all these things. And then how believable is that?
90. Yeah.
Great. Jill,
I was just going to ask Sunny a little bit more, like, I'm still having a little bit of a hard time sort of sinking my teeth into this current sort of like activation of this. Like you're saying, I have this kind of approval addiction, and you've had it in the past, and I can see, wanting your parents' approval, wanting to do the right thing, wanting to obey. Mm-hmm. And I think you're saying, I'm just trying to understand a little better, that you've had jobs in the past where kind of maybe the work was given to you, and so you knew what you needed to do to like maybe please the other person or do a good job, sort of like it was clear how to get the A or the promotion, and are you saying that now you're like in a startup or a position that's it isn't clear how to do the job well, and that's sort of what's causing you to feel insecure, like will I do a good job, will I be able to please them?
I think actually in many of my job, I don't have to be given a lot of direction to do well. But at least there's a metrics on what is well, like what is an A, right? And then you go do it, right? Usually I'm the one who come up with how to get an A. But now I don't even know what is an A.
You're kind of at a period in your time, in your life, when you're venturing out from the flotation device of having clear ways of getting approval and being successful, and you've got time on your hands. You can do whatever you want. It's kind of exciting. You're maybe going to reinvent yourself and reinvent your life a little bit, but at the same time, it's frightening because you don't have that structure around you that you're used to creating for yourself, where you can be successful and then get approval. You're a little
I don't
lost.
even know what's successful.
Yeah.
I think that's the issues. I don't even know what's successful, and I don't know if any approval from other people will work anymore, because they don't even know, because I don't know. So I don't get a lot of approval lately. I think that's one of the points. I don't get a lot of approval for myself from other people, and it feels a little strange. Yeah.
And is it, Sunny, in a way, like, so you're now doing stuff because it's interesting to you, rather than
definitely.
Kind of
so I'm having
approval.
fun. I'm actually having fun. That's why my sadness score is not that high. Yeah.
Right. So you're choosing, though, like, I'm going to do this because it's interesting to me, rather than to get the approval.
Yeah.
And at the same time, while you're trying to do what's interesting to you, you're noticing that it feels kind of empty and lonely, and that you feel kind of lost because you're not
like
seeking that approval, and you're not getting that approval.
Yeah, because I don't even know what I may be getting approval from other people, but I don't value them anymore. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, it's not the type. I don't even. The stuff they say is not that useful, but I'm not getting approval. Does it make sense? Like, it's what they. But I'm seeking approval, but whatever they are giving me, approving me, is not what I was looking for, because it's not.
Because you don't really need it anymore, right? Like,
I don't need it. Well, I do need it, but I don't. Whatever they gave me is not what I need, and I don't know what I need.
Yeah.
Is that kind of, and that's why it's kind of confusing. Like So I'm still seeking for those approval, but what they're giving me is not the approval I was looking for, because I don't know what they are. Yeah.
And I was wondering, Sunny, so David and I have spent some time kind of empathizing and seeing if we understand you, and seeing if we can connect with you. And now we have a better understanding of the feelings that are coming up for you, and also of many of the thoughts. And I'm just wondering, how are you feeling? Like, how are we doing on empathy? What kind of a grade would you give us?
Well, I think you guys did very well, especially at the inquiry, because I sometimes don't even know what I was. The clarification is good, because I'm more clear myself as I was talking to you. What kind of grade?
Would you give us an A, a B, a C, a D? How would you grade us on empathy?
I would say an A minus.
Good. And tell us the part that we're missing.
And I think it's partly because of me. I feel like this image always keep coming up. I'm in the middle of the ocean. I took out my floating device. I'm swimming pretty well. It's just the beginning, and I enjoy it. But then this morning, I felt like scared. And then I start feeling sinking, because I'm not focusing on enjoying myself. So I feel kind of, but no one really can be there to help me. So I feel very lonely, and
so it sounds like
helpless.
Yeah.
So I didn't talk about that part. So
the idea that it's kind of like exciting that I'm in the ocean now, and I'm not using my flotation device, and I'm swimming, and I'm enjoying it. And then that's this exciting new approach to life, but then sometimes suddenly feeling fear, and maybe I'll sink here in this ocean, and there's no one is going to be there for me. I'm feeling lonely, frightened, and helpless, and that these feelings can be pretty intense at certain moments.
Yes.
Did
and
I get
to a
that?
point where, yeah, that was very good. Yeah, because at times it's almost like when I try to ski, if I'm scared, that's when I fall. So I'm kind of feeling like that's the anxiety comes. Oh no, I'm feeling this fear now. I'm gonna sink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like like when you learn, like when I teach my nephew or people how to swim or whatever. Those are the times when I actually will sink. Is when I'm scared of it. Yeah, and I'm feeling. At times I have that, and I have no floating device anymore.
That makes this a pretty fantastic time for you.
I enjoy it most of the time. Today I'm not. That's why I end up emailing you, because for the most part I was, I update you regularly, David, and I say, I'm enjoying the best time of my life and blah, But then today I was like, oh, okay, what's going on? Yeah.
Yikes. Wait a minute, I'm out in the middle of the ocean. I don't see any boats around. Yeah, sure.
I was wondering too, whether even in sharing with us, whether you're a little reluctant to, maybe I'm off, but like you don't want the approval addiction. So I even almost wonder like whether connecting with us and like sort of feeling that warmth of connection is a little scary too, because I know you're trying so hard to like really swim on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wondered whether you even had mixed feelings about kind of reaching out and doing this work with us. Like,
I do have mixed feeling. Yeah, those are very good. Yeah, that's definitely in the air. The I'm weak statement that I said earlier. I felt like just why can't I just be like my sister and just go and.
Could you add that? I should be more like my sister and just go and do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's one thought from the chat just to share things that are kind of people are writing or coming in. One group member mentioned something like maybe I don't know, I should know how to define a successful life, or I don't know how. And I just wanted to add that into for people to be able to discuss, or Sunny, you to see if there's anything there that resonates with you or part of what you're struggling with.
I guess there's a should, but it's hard. It's hard because I'm doing what like all these people are supposed to say. Just go for it. Do what you love. You don't even have anything to worry about. But it's scary because I don't know what it is. I have to figure out as I go, and it's and I will be alone. Yeah, I doing this without approval because I don't want it. Plus, even when people say something, it seems kind of not what I want to hear. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Would you add that to your list, number 11, I'll be alone?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And how much do you believe those two thoughts, I'll be alone and I should be more like my sister and just go for it?
Like 80 and 80, yeah.
Okay. Now, Jill, I'd be tempted. I want to get your input on this to move into an invitation step.
yeah, I think it would be helpful to do invitation and miracle cure, just because that'll continue to help us to get invitation, miracle cure, specificity. If we can move toward agenda setting, or in a specific way, and then we can always empathize more along the way. I think maybe then we'll be able to empathize about more specific things. Sunny, do you feel, I guess that would be the invitation. So Sunny, you've shared with us really a lot about what you've been experiencing and how you've been dealing with kind of an approval addiction since childhood and made so much progress on it. And at the same time that you're feeling like it's coming up for you again, and you're having this kind of opportunity / challenge of kind of swimming on your own and feeling nervous about it. And I'm wondering, would now be a good time for us to, kind of get to work with you on this? Or do you feel like you need some more time to talk with us to get some support? Because that could be important too.
Yeah, I think I'm ready. I'm ready to work on it.
Okay.
More, yeah.
And I'm curious, if we did have a magic wand and we could wave that wand and a miracle could happen tonight, you could leave this session kind of with just what you wanted, a miracle would occur. What would that be? How would things change?
That I would feel free doing what I want with maybe 10%, anxiety, and just go for it and enjoy it. And because deep down, I think I'm doing the right thing, actually. I know I'm doing the right thing.
Okay, so what you said is, you would, if we had a great session tonight and a miracle happened, you would leave here tonight feeling free, that you were doing and be able to do what you want to do and not worry about it, right? So it's basically this idea that you would no longer feel kind of worried and anxious, or 10% worried and anxious, and really just be able to have fun and enjoy.
Yes, yes.
And not feel anxious and worried about it.
Yes. Because I was actually one of the reasons why I thought when I do the cost benefit analysis for approval addiction, I put 40 advantage and 60 disadvantage. That's my current view. I would want to move it more to like 20/80. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just grabbing another piece of paper. Okay, so you're jumping ahead, but in terms of the advantages and disadvantages, but you're saying you feel even more motivated now, like that the disadvantages outweigh the advantages by even more. Did I understand that right?
I want it to be.
Oh.
But right now it's still
40/60.
40/60. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the 40 still is my floating device that is keeping me from jump into it and swim or ski.
So suppose we have a magic button, and then you press the magic button, and then it'll suddenly be just the way you want it. You'll be going for it. You'll be feeling freedom. At most, you'll have 10% anxiety from time to time, and you'll be feeling certain that you're doing the right thing. Would you press that magic button?
Yeah.
Okay, well, as you know, we don't have a magic button, but we've got some really powerful tools, and we probably can bring that result about tonight, but maybe we should just quickly take a look at some of your negative thoughts and feelings and see what they're saying about you that's positive and awesome, because what you're really saying is that you don't want to be having these little mini relapses and suddenly doubting yourself and feeling, unhappy and anxious and guilty and inadequate and lonely and embarrassed and hopeless and frustrated and angry and lost, and then telling yourself, I shouldn't have to deal with this again, and I shouldn't have to use self-disclosure to get approval and feel better, and other people will think I'm a loser, and so forth. What do some of these negative thoughts and feelings show about you that's positive and awesome? And what are some benefits to you in having these kinds of negative thoughts and feelings that you're trying so hard to get rid of?
Well, I've always been very cautious. And I always have a plan.
Well, let's just take these one at a time. So, so you're saying this shows that you're cautious.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good thing to be cautious?
Yes, it's a good thing because I grew up when I was in a low income in the U.S. and have to help out my parents a lot since I was more Americanized. So it's important to be cautious and do the right thing so that we don't get in trouble. Yeah.
Okay, that's one positive. Is that powerful? Be cautious, do the right thing, and not get in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What are some other benefits of your negative thoughts and feelings, and what do they show about you that's positive and awesome?
That I guess for the negative thought that I'm weak and I shouldn't need other people's support, it shows that I guess that's kind of paradoxical. I'm independent at times, even though I need approval.
What is needing? Well, let's just these are two things. I'm weak and I need approval. They're different. Let's look at I need approval. What does that show about you that's positive and awesome? Because if you press that magic button, you won't need approval.
Well, positive is that people will like me.
Mm-hmm.
Is that important?
Yeah.
What are some other good things about needing approval?
I'm doing the right thing according to more experienced people, older people, authority,
Mm-hmm. So I'm doing the right thing. What
also even like I'm carrying out my family values.
Yeah. Family value of being
obedient and seeking approval,
mm-hmm,
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what are some other awesome things about seeking approval? Do you want Jill's approval?
Oh yeah, I want people. I like people's approval. Yeah, including Jill's. Yeah.
And David's.
Yeah.
And so, does that show that you want to have a good relationship with Jill and David?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
It's a good thing. Yeah.
So, can we add that number 4? You want close relations with others. Now, you're calling yourself. Other people will think I'm a loser. What are some awesome things about giving yourself that message? What does it show about you and your core values that's pretty awesome? And what are some benefits to you?
I can be humble at times. Yeah, humble.
Can you add that to your list? Is that important to be humble?
Yeah, that's important.
Is that powerful?
Yes, but it's very powerful. Yeah.
Is that real?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Go ahead, Jill.
I was going to say, Sonny, I wanted to think with you about this. Like, you have this really powerful image about kind of being lost at sea.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder, it seems to me that seeking approval is gives you a roadmap for how to proceed.
Yes.
So, if you were to give up seeking approval, what are you seeking? Right? So do you think maybe a benefit for seeking approval is that it gives me a roadmap, gives me a direction?
Yes, that's that is definitely one. Yeah.
That's a good one. Add that. Now, in addition, part of your seeking approval and some of your negative thoughts and feelings, it seems that this motivates you to accomplish things.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Okay, accomplish a lot.
Another thing that is very powerful is relating to my upbringing is I won't get punished.
Mm-hmm. Put that down. Uh-huh. I won't get punished like my sister.
Yeah. I won't get punished. Yeah.
Can you think of more, Sonny? Like instead of us, can we give you a minute to think of some other benefits?
That I'm not rebellious. That I hate that word, but I'm a good boy. Oh, I hate that.
Well, what's the good thing about that? I mean, these things are like two-edged sword, and there's a kind of a wimpy thing about being a good boy, and there's
Yeah, that's why I don't like to. But yeah, that's why I'm the weak one. But I'm also being a good boy. I obey the. Yeah. I'm kind of listening to what other people, my elders, say, and
is there any value in that?
Yeah, well, growing up, I was reward plenty, and even at my work, because I'm doing what they want me to, and yeah.
So I get rewarded. Is that a good thing?
I got rewarded. Yeah.
Well, I didn't say got rewarded. I said I get rewarded.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also less tension and less conflicts, which I also don't like.
Right.
When you say I shouldn't have to deal with this again, what does that show about you that's positive and awesome? What are some benefits of giving yourself that message? That's a put down in a way. You're criticizing yourself. What's good about doing that?
That I'm actually dealing with it because I'm going to the next level.
Oh, I see. Is that true?
Yes.
Would you put that down? Is that important? I'm going to the next level.
Yeah.
I love that. So you're saying it's actually highly desirable that you have all these negative thoughts and feelings? Is that what you just said?
Is it desirable?
Highly desirable, not desirable.
Highly desirable.
That you're.
No, I don't think. I mean, it's human to have those thoughts. Is it desirable? I don't know. I guess it helps me, but it's getting in my way too. It's getting in my way because I'm less free, and I'm not enjoying my life.
Let me try again. We're trying to look at the positive side of something, and I probably didn't make it clear, but you woke up this morning feeling really lost, right, and scared and helpless, and having a lot of self-critical thoughts and feeling maybe I'm going to drown, right?
Yeah.
And why is that extremely great that's happening to you?
Because I'm being realistic that I could drown because I don't have the map. I don't know what the map is.
Let's see. Should I just say it, Jill, what I'm thinking about? I'm not doing a good job of leading here.
Well, I can ask one more specific question, and then if it doesn't get us there, then just say it.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask something really specifically, like, Sonny, when you tell yourself that you shouldn't worry about all these things, what does that show about you that's really beautiful and awesome?
That I am independent and resilient.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in that case, yeah. So, well, let's write that down because those are beautiful things. So I'm independent. I'm resilient.
And I have high standard. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what I was thinking is that I want to learn and grow. Like when you're telling yourself, I shouldn't worry about these things, you're basically saying, I would like to stop worrying. Like I want to be above these things, right? I want to stop with this approval addiction. So to me, it's just showing that you really want a level of independence and of joy, and and to not be so burdened by these things, like that, that you want more for yourself, that you want to be free.
Yes, and I want it in the very highest level. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, I have very high standard on myself, even
definitely
in terms of how I should grow. Not
right.
not
Like
just,
someone else might be letting themselves off the hook here. They're like, well, I got a new job and the rules are really different. And of course I feel kind of nervous. And you're like, no, I'm going to figure this out. Right. I'm going to go to the Tuesday group. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to fix this.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not just about career. It's just about my philosophy that I need
Your personal growth.
Personal growth. Yeah. Personal growth. Yeah. Because I have very high standard on it. Yeah.
Right.
So I wrote down high standards, personal growth, want to learn and grow, independent and resilient, and I'm going to the next level. If you press the magic button, all these negative thoughts and feelings, they're going to disappear like that, just in a flash. Now, I have a question for you. Why are you having these periods of feeling anxious and lost and helpless? Why is this happening? Because if you press the magic button, it won't happen.
Okay, it's happening because I'm challenging myself.
Oh, can you put that down? Is that important?
Yes.
It shows I'm challenging myself. So did you just say it's extremely desirable for me then to be feeling anxious and lost and scared?
Yeah. It's very it's very important for me to be anxious. Yeah, but not too much. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like your growth edge or something, right, David? Right? Like you're trying. It's like your growth edge. Like I don't know, like right, you're trying to let go of your security blanket, to let go of the life raft, and so it makes sense that you're feeling, nervous about it because you're trying to exceed. You're trying to take it to the next level.
Yeah. In other words,
if you weren't challenging yourself, you probably wouldn't be feeling too anxious, right?
No, because I would be enjoying myself because it was quite enjoyable the last few weeks until today. So, what's going on?
Sure. So you're saying that you're confronting your fear and you're using exposure.
Yes.
And is that what you tell your patients when you tell them to use exposure? Make sure you don't feel too much fear.
No. In fact, I told them the other way, that they have to go over that hump before they get better. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you saying then it's extremely desirable for me to be feeling as much anxiety as possible from time to time?
Yes, because that means I am growing, I am challenging myself, and I'm on the way to get better.
I see. So you're saying all this negative feelings you're having is damn good.
Oh, so I'm done.
Yeah. We could make that argument.
Yeah, it's good. That's a good argument. And that's actually, that helps a lot.
And tell us why that helps.
Because I exposure therapy is one of my favorite technique for other people and also for myself. Yeah. And it helps really quickly. And I also know that it's extremely scary at times, but that's part of growing. Like I told my patient, it's like when you are doing a surgery and you're opening up the wound and take up the pus. Now you're growing, so it hurts.
So you're saying you're grateful that you're feeling 50% anxious and 40% guilty and 50% inadequate and 50% lonely and 50% lost and 50% embarrassed and weak and all. You're saying this is good shit? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this is good shit, except the frustration that I don't like to feel like this.
So
like, why can't I? When I've done so many exposure, including coming out, how come it's still coming doing this? But I know
you're
that
facing a new challenge, right? There's no free lunch.
Yeah, there's no free lunch. Yeah, that's my favorite line for my patient too. Yeah, there's no free lunch.
But I was wondering, and David, tell me if you think this is the wrong direction, but Sunny, it does seem like we're kind of saying, hey, maybe you've got all these great reasons, to feel anxious right now, and all these beautiful things that your anxiety and your, feelings of loneliness and frustration and stuff, that they show about you, right? And what matters to you and what's important to you and what you value and what you're going through. So I think David's kind of said, like, so maybe we should just leave it alone. Kind of seems like it's working, but there is a part of you that's like, I don't really want all of it, right?
Yeah, it's too high.
I hear you saying, I do want it and I want to go through it, but I don't really want all of it. So it seems to me that maybe it makes sense to think about a dial, right?
Yeah,
we could look at each of your feelings and think kind of how unhappy do you want to be? How anxious do you want to be? Because we want to make sure that you're holding on to all the things that are really important, right? That motivate you and that you're going to take you to the next level, right? And at the same time, there is a way that we can help you to dial down some of these. So should we look at that?
Yes. And I think I'm actually feeling a lot better now because I actually you all reminded me that what I told my patients all the time, like, you're supposed to feel like this.
Yeah.
And I have to draw that thing to myself. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do our thing here. How unhappy would you like to feel at the end of the evening? That was 30. What would be a nice goal?
Like 10.
10. Okay. Do you write that down, or
Yeah.
If it's convenient? How anxious would you like to feel? 10. 10. Okay. Is that enough anxiety?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. How guilty do you want to feel?
I don't know. 5.
5. How inadequate?
5.
How lonely?
20.
20. How embarrassed?
20.
20. How hopeless?
10.
How frustrated?
20.
20. How angry?
Maybe 5. Yeah.
How lost?
Maybe I'm trying to figure out. I'll be lost because I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, so you might want to be lost for a while. So that was 50. What would be an optimal amount of lostness?
And I always get lost anyway when I drive. So, but it's good to like 15%. Yeah,
15. Yeah, that's a good amount of lostness.
All right, that was the first part of the session, and Rhonda will now make some profound closing comments.
Well, just that it's heartfelt. I don't know if I have the words for it, but listening to you and Jill give empathy to Sunny, and in the more empathy and the emotional connection that you have with him just gives him more and more permission to be free and explain who he is and what he's feeling, but not at an intellectual level, but a very heartfelt way. And it's really beautiful to watch and listen to.
Thank you. And so we look forward to seeing all of you next week for the dramatic and I would say somewhat surprising conclusion of the Sunny session, where we'll go into the assessment of resistance and the methods we used to help him crush his negative thoughts.
Yes, thank you everyone for listening. This has been another episode of the Feeling Good podcast. For more information, visit Dr. Burns' website at feelinggood.com, where you will find the show notes for this episode under the podcast page. You will also find archives of previous episodes and many resources for therapists and non-therapists. We welcome your comments and questions. If you want to support the show, please share the podcast with people who might benefit from it. You could also go to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating. The theme music is Gypsy Jazz in Paris, 1935, composed and performed by Brett Van Donsel. I am your host, Rhonda Borowski. We hope you enjoyed this episode. I invite you to join us next time for another episode of the Feeling Good Podcast.